Welcome everyone. Today we will be reviewing the latest chapter of Kengan Omega. In this chapter, the Fang of Matsudo Kano Agito faces off against the monster Julius Reinhold. Without wasting any time, let's jump right in. The chapter begins inside the arena. We can see that the audience is excited to witness this epic showdown between the Fang of Matsudo Kano Agito and the monster Julius Reinhold. Before the fight begins, Sayaka makes a statement. She states that both fighters are still registered with the Kengan Association, but Julius is also registered with D4. She then asks the audience to divert their attention to the sky, where there's a huge display showing the logo D4. She explains that D4 is the third largest underground martial arts promotion in the country, following the Kengan Association and Purgatory. It started in the 1960s as a joint venture by four tycoons, but after the bubble burst in the 1990s, their profits waned and they were bought out by a new owner. After changing hands several more times, it finally recovered financially under the management of Mr. Toyota Idemitsu. Together with Purgatory, the second biggest underground martial arts promotion in the country, and Garo, his new promotion. It became the third underground martial arts promotion owned by Mr. Toyota. Mr. Yamashita says that Idemitsu donated D4 to the Kengan Association just last year, most likely for this tournament, and Miss Akiyama adds that no one would question Julius transferring to D4, as long as it's a subsidiary of the Kengan Association. Julius states that all of this is to prove that he is the strongest. Agito replies, saying that he admires his strength and accepts his challenge. We then take a look at the referee, who is sporting a neuron activating outfit. She asks the fighters if they're ready, and orders them to take their stance. Julius begins squeezing the muscles on his arms intensely, until some sort of tattoo forms all over his arms. This is a level of muscle control called Gottoder Steinbohrer. Mr. Yamashita immediately recognizes this as the God-Killer rock drill that he used to take out Towamuto with one punch. He's surprised that Julius is using it right off the bat. The referee then raises her hands and starts the fight. Julius immediately goes on the offensive and sends a punch straight towards Agito, who manages to somehow divert the power of the blow, which surprises Julius, Mr. Yamashita, and Akiyama. Julius follows up with an uppercut, which seems to connect, but the punch slips through Agito's head like water, shocking Julius even more. The announcer Sayaka thinks that Agito is using his formless style, but Mr. Yamashita knows this is not the case. This technique Agito is using is completely different from the formless style he used in the past, and notes that something has changed in the brief span of time. Julius retreats, and tells Agito that he is a worthy adversary, and he's coming back for more. Agito says to Julius that he is going to show him a world he never knew. Kano Agito's attack pattern can be divided into three categories: martial arts, formless style plus martial arts, and formless. The most dangerous one for Julius is Agito's formless style, due to its unpredictable movements that can catch Julius off guard, so he knows he'll have to react quickly. He plans on using the terrain to his advantage, since this tournament has a ring-out rule. However, real combat may be another story, but it shouldn't be that hard to pin him down in an enclosed space, so he plans to take him down decisively. Julius prepares for another attack. Sayaka wonders who is going to make the first move, but Jerry already knows that Julius will be the one to strike first, as he lunges towards Agito. Mr. Yamashita realizes that Julius plans to overwhelm Agito with his weight by ramming him. Even if Kano parries, Julius still has the God-Killer rock drills, so he doesn't have many options left. Agito prepares for Julius's arrival, and instantly stops him with a single punch, which surprises him, but Agito doesn't allow him to process what just happened, as he smashes him with a dragon shot, which sends Julius sliding backwards. Luckily, Julius managed to stay on his feet, but he took some serious damage. Okubo Naoya is impressed by Julius's resilience, but Agito ain't no slouch either. After witnessing both fighters' incredible strength, Justin worryingly says that these guys are really tough. Julius deactivates his God-Killer rock drills, which Sayaka notices, and wonders what Julius will do now. Julius doesn't understand how Agito was able to overwhelm him. He never meant to take Agito lightly, but he never knew he'd be this strong. Suddenly, Agito makes a move, and swiftly punches Julius in the face. However, Julius manages to grab Kanoa's hand, but he instantly gets his left kneecap cracked by Agito, which staggers him long enough for Kano to land a kick to his face. Mr. Yamashita realizes that Agito is just too strong, as he continues to overwhelm Julius with a flurry of attacks, forcing him to back away. He knew that Agito was strong, but this is ridiculous. Carlos wonders what's happening to Agito, as Gaolang just silently watches. Somewhere inside the arena, we see a man watching the fight from above. This man turns out to be Xiaoyan, who realizes that Agito is stronger than when he fought him, which he finds ridiculous, and adds that he never knew that there'd be side effects. The scene then changes to Oma Takeda and the connector, Shin Wulong, sitting together in a forest. Oma says to the connector, "How come you never told me?" Moving on to chapter 269, titled Scaled the Wall. Xiaoyan elaborates on his theory, explaining that if there is a mountain climber who has climbed the highest mountain in the world, would he go on to train to climb an even higher mountain? Of course he wouldn't, because there are even higher mountains. But what if there are even greater heights? He's learned that there are greater heights, and perhaps revealing Shin Wulong to the Kengan Association was a mistake, even if it was to make them submit. Kano has learned of greater heights and scaled the wall as he continues to overwhelm Julius. Mr. Yamashita notices that the majority of Kano's attacks are landing and doing good damage, and even points out that Kano is aiming for the seams of Julius's muscles. How is Kano doing this against Julius? Mr. Yamashita wonders, as he can definitely tell that something is clearly different about Kano. Agito sidesteps to Julius's right and lands a clean punch to his head, making him stagger again. Kano takes this opportunity to land a dragon vine on Julius, making him go down. Suddenly Julius rushes towards Agito, but Agito reacts quickly and elbows him in the face. Xia says he should have known that the infection is spreading, as we see Julius successfully capture Agito in a bear hug. This is the same bear hug that almost defeated Wakasuki Takeshi, which Kano is trying to get out of, as Julius tries to lift him up. Xiaoyan continues to explain that scaling the wall is contagious. It completely removes the subconscious limitation on what's possible or not. There used to be a 10-second barrier in the 100-meter dash. But as soon as that wall scaled, many more followed suit. Julius Reinhold, a man who hasn't met the connector in person, is scaling the wall as we speak. Agito lands a devastating blow to the back of Julius's neck, which allows him to escape from Julius. Agito knew that he wouldn't have been a simple opponent. Julius asks Kano if this is his domain and tells him that he is caught up to him. Dragon's Vein, Agito's new technique, strikes the vital like a dragon slithering through the earth. The damage that Julius sustained was immeasurable. He notes to himself that he'll have to keep an eye out for that technique, due to it being the most dangerous at mid to point blank range, and says that there's only one thing he needs to do. The announcer Sayaka wonders how many hits has Julius taken so far, and questions if there's anyone who has ever held out against a rush from Agito for this long. She also points out that Agito's breathing has become unstable, and it looks like the fatigue is getting to him. She speculates if his exhaustion will be the key to Julius turning the tables. The referee orders them to fight, and Agito rushes towards Julius. Mr. Yamashita notices that Julius isn't moving, but when Kano got close, he tried to grab him, but Agito managed to dodge it, and strikes Julius with a dragon shot to his gut. However, Julius managed to get a hold of Agito, declaring he has him now, and reactivates his God-Killer rock drills to strike Kano. Suddenly, Kano shifts Julius's arm backwards, and trips him over into a kick in the face. Mr. Yamashita says that was a flawless move from Agito, stating that he knocked Julius off balance with flawless timing, and outsmarted him. Suddenly, Julius tries to gain the upper hand by shaking off Kano's wrist lock, but Kano won't let him, as he releases one of his hands from the wrist lock to land a punch, and a knee strike to Julius's head, which instantly knocked him out. The referee then declares Agito as the winner of this match. Mr. Yamashita says that was a frightening exchange, and Miss Akiyama asks him how was that frightening, so he explains to her that after the charge, that first grab was a bluff. Julius's real goal was to get Kano to come in close. Miss Akiyama then asks him if Agito took the dragon shot on purpose, which Yamashita confirms, and explains that Julius did that to lure him in, so he could catch him the moment he stopped moving. He had shifted the point of impact to avoid a final blow, but even so, I can't believe he'd willingly take a strike from Kano. Akiyama says that it sure gives you chills, that's a self-sacrificial strategy alright. Yamashita continues to explain the exchange between both fighters, stating that if the wrist lock had come a split second later, the outcome may have been different, but in all honesty, this match came down to a razor-thin margin, unlike the visible damage would suggest. But this is one thick razor. Returning back to Xiaoyan, who states that once a ripple starts, it cannot be stopped. The handful of fighters watching this match have seen what's beyond the dead end too, and the ripple will spread on from there. The pebble the connector threw in the water will change the world. Best wishes, my brethren, for today marks the anniversary of mankind's evolution. The scene then shifts to a hallway with multiple doors. Inside one of these rooms sits a man who is meditating peacefully. Suddenly, a clatter can be heard as the door behind him opens. The person who opened the door is none other than Sakigake, who has somehow fully recovered after his fight with Justin. The man asks if he can help him, and Sakigake replies, saying that he could help him with just one thing, and that would be for him to kindly let him end the man's life. We've come to the end of this chapter. Let me know your thoughts of this fight in the comments below, and if there is a fight in the series you want to see covered on this channel, let me know in the comments. Until then, have a nice day or night.